Here we are, episode 9 of What's Up, Spirit. I'm Sheri Hauser, brand steward at Victoria True Center, and I'm here with my co-lead.
I don't know if that worked online or not, but hi, my name is Reverend Lesia Kohut, and I am so delighted to be here with you, with Sheri. Sheri, what's up, Spirit?
Well, I'm coming to you from the lands of the Lekwungen-speaking people, known as the Esquimalt and Songhees Nation, and it's on their land that I live, work, and play. I want to acknowledge that I'm trying to be a better ally in what it means and honoring their stewardship of the land, past, present, and future.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm right with you on that, and I am coming to everyone from the Sartlip Nation and the Wasanish-speaking peoples, because we're in a slightly different area of land than you are, and also so grateful to be able to live and breathe and work and play and create on these beautiful, beautiful lands that have been stewarded for so long, and just grateful that there is opportunity and invitation to co-create more together now. So,
Mm.
Rachka.
Yeah. And taking a moment before we share what's up
Mm-hmm.
with our spirit,
Mm-hmm.
wondering what's up for any of our listeners. We're just going to drop into 3 long conscious breaths in and out of our bodies right now. Mm. I love the invitation to slow down. It feels like such a luxury, and I didn't afford it to myself for so many years. The idea of taking these slow breaths to feel what I'm feeling, to ground myself into the present. It's such a small thing. And I've noticed that it has such a big impact on my awareness of my thoughts, my awareness of my body, tuning in to the sensations that are here and making space for it all to be welcomed and not judging any sensation or feeling as bad or wrong, not one emotion more welcome than another. So
Yeah.
with that, I'm wondering, what are you showing up with? What's in your spirit right now, Miss Lasia?
Well, you know what? As on that inhale and exhale, those 3 very long breaths, knowing that inspiration means, taking in a spirit of breath, then I was reminded of 2 things. One was that a few days ago, we had a couple of family members visiting from out of town, and one was incredibly frustrated with the other not spending enough time with her. And so when Glenn dropped one of them off to meet the other, they were kind of like, and he actually pulled a Sheri Hauser and said, okay, 3 breath hug. And he got them to do a 3 breath hug, which at first was a little bit awkward, but then eventually they melted into each other. And there was this release of like whatever tension, whatever judgment, whatever expectations, either one of them was coming in with, just melted away enough so that they could be more present with each other and
Mm,
actually, like, just be with each other as the love that they truly are, rather than get like caught up in, you shoulda, you coulda, whatever sort of thing. So that was one little nugget that I wanted to share with you, because you were also very much the inspiration for that. And then the other was just a couple of hours ago when I was taking a shower, and I was doing it kind of quickly because I had a whole bunch of things to do. And then at one point I just thought, I don't want to do this quickly. I actually want to enjoy this shower. And what I really want is I want a bath, which I don't do very often. And so maybe like once or twice a year, I'll just sink into a really hot tub with some beautiful essential oils and salts, just like melt and dissolve and become one with the water and just let go of everything. And so I finished my shower. I went and got a candle. I got the salts, turned off the light because I like to be in the darkness, turned off the fan. So it got all steamy and everything. And there are no windows in the bathroom. So it was like really dark except for the little candle. And oh, talk about luxury, talk about indulgence, which really is just this like foundational, radical self-care and self-acceptance and just being present. It was glorious, maybe 10 minutes, but it was a glorious 10 minutes to just pause and relax and be present. And it kind of took me back to last week's conversation where you brought forth cocooning and just really wanting to get cozy and comfortable and still like do stuff, but really just, scoop yourself into yourself and be present with yourself and slow down and not have to, rush into things and produce things and sort of, necessarily go by like crazy deadlines or whatever. So that clearly landed for me and just showed up. And I'm so delighted with myself that I listened to myself and just, took the opportunity to indulge and care for myself in that way.
Mm, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love about your story is here you were in the shower doing the functional task of cleaning one's dermis
Yeah.
from the perspiration of the days,
Yeah.
and it's nice to feel clean and have access to hot water. And so here you were doing the function when you had the awareness of like, I don't want this to be fast.
Mm-hmm.
I want to luxuriate
Mm-hmm.
in this ritual,
Mm-hmm.
that we have the privilege of doing. Um, Many of us as often as we like. And what a privilege that is. And so to pour yourself a hot bath and give yourself the thing that would help you feel more connected to your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned lighting a candle. And since we last met to record episode 8, there's been a new moon of the new year that came on. And lighting a candle and imagining the any desire that you have for yourself. And I invited 5 friends over, so 6 of us in total. And I had a candle for everyone
Mm-hmm.
and a amplifier card, which is I decided this deck of 52 cards that there was a card for everyone that in it possesses wisdom, and that wisdom is going to support each one of us in manifesting more of what we want. And this can be a really little thing.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't about new year, new goals, not at all. We're cocooning. But if we were to give a vision, if we were to birth a vision that we can hold on to during this gestation, hibernation phase of the year, then feeling it, inviting the feeling of having it into your body as you watch the candle light flicker, which was part of the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had some 3 inch by 3 inch black paper that when you scratch the black away, it reveals a rainbow tapestry underneath.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So everyone got a card and were encouraged to draw a symbol or write a word or a series of words that would remind them
Mm-hmm.
of what they were dreaming into, what their desires were.
Mm-hmm.
And and what came through me, which I'm willing to share, is the question, who would I be if I had nothing to prove?
Mm. That's a great question.
So the desire to feel into that person and invite her to the table,
Yeah.
invite her in more often.
Mm-hmm.
Who would I be if I had nothing to prove? What would I do if I had nothing to prove? What would I do? And uh, and I've been sitting with that since the new moon ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the gifts I received from my friend that weekend was this really exquisite quote. And I wonder how easy it is to
Yeah.
read here on screen.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Yeah.
say that out loud?
Sure. Look closely at the present you are constructing. It should look like the future you are dreaming, by Alice Walker.
Yeah, that's right. So, looking closely at the present that you're constructing, because it should look like the future you're dreaming. So if I'm dreaming of a future where who I am being and how I am being is a person who has nothing to prove, then what is that? And using that as some kind of benchmark. Because again, like there's nothing to fix or change here about who we are.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there's no way of like doing it wrong.
Hmm.
It's like adjusting your point of view to having more of what you want, because the real question at the end of every day, that is a love ambassador, my love ambassador partner and I like to say, is, are you in love with your life?
Hmm.
Are you in love with your life?
Hmm. Another
And
great question.
yeah,
Such a poignant, powerful question. And I really, I so appreciate what it is that you're bringing to the table. And one of the words, I mean, there were a few words that I honed in on, but one was constructing out of that quote, because it made me think of our monthly theme this month, which is foundation, and how every choice lays the foundation for the next now moment. So, what are the choices that you're making, and are they in alignment with this big dream that you're dreaming? Because if they're not, then you're not going to get to your dream. But if they are, then at least you know you're on the right, not path necessarily, because every moment's a brand new moment and you can like switch trajectories at any time and make these micro adjustments or macro adjustments. But yeah, like what is it that you're constructing? What is the foundation that you're springing from, to the next now moment? And then you also use the word more, which is in our yearly theme, which is there is always more in 2024. So inviting more of, who is it that you really want to be, because there's nothing stopping you. Sometimes it may feel like it, but ultimately, the only one that is putting any obstacles in the way is us. Like each and every one is for our own unfoldment. So, what a lovely gift and blessing and opportunity that you guys shared with each other at this get together that you had to celebrate the new moon.
yeah, thanks. Something I want to comment on, um, because I like to be mindful of meeting people where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone doesn't have a big vision for themselves and all they know is the next step
Mm-hmm.
or the next step, and they don't, and it's not so clear, it's that following the thread of aliveness with each small choice. So
Mm-hmm.
which choice feels better to the me who's here present right now?
Yeah.
And if you always choose from the present moment of what feels better to you, not what you think someone else wants you to choose, that's again with the something to prove sort of stance that I'm, endeavoring to take the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this idea that even if you don't know the big vision or some dream, it's okay. But following the thread of aliveness with every new decision that you're faced. Which one brings you more joy? Oh, here. Which one brings you more joy? Oh, now I'm there. And and it'll all make sense one day. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to make sense right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we always need to choose for ourselves what feels better.
So let me ask you a question, Sheri, because I have a friend who her sort of metric is, does it feel yum or yuck? When she's faced with, like a choice, a decision. So what is it like for you? When you're making a choice, when you're like in the moment sort of thing, and you could go, any number of ways. What do you feel something? Do you think something? How do you know what the better choice is for you?
Great question. I'm feeling into how I make it. And what I'm familiar with is a pattern where I like to imagine the outcome, and I feel that outcome in my body, and it has a vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And is it, on the positive side of the spectrum or the negative side of the spectrum? Like, where is it that feels more alive? What's the impact of choosing A or B? And I think that's all we have
Mm-hmm.
is if there's some way that you can project yourself into the future and use your imagination and then just take a temperature read
Mm-hmm.
and see what that feels like.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that there's another way. Now, when you're guided by your values, it gets easier.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that I'm a person who is guided by her values.
Mm-hmm.
And when I am clear on what they are and what they stand for, then I can look at my values compass and ask me the question, like, is the decision to go more in alignment with my value, or is the decision to not go more in
Mm-hmm.
alignment with my values? And recently I just, even though it was really inconvenient, just dropped everything and traveled off the island to support a grieving friend. And when I looked at the the outcome, it became really clear what was in alignment with my values.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing when I took my dad to dance temple. Like, there were some things that felt really uncomfortable about bringing my nearly 80-year-old father into an ecstatic dance community that's very beloved to me.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of fast forwarding into a future where that's no longer possible,
Mm-hmm.
which would I regret more?
Mm-hmm.
And not taking him would have been a way bigger regret than any temporary discomfort.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes the choices easier. And yeah, I mean, I bring up kind of one more act of compassion and one more lower stake example because these are not all big decisions that we
Mm-hmm.
make every day. But when they're in alignment with your values, you feel that, you know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would agree with that, the feeling is the answer. And for me, I don't necessarily need to envision it. I think just without going into a longer conversation, that it would be on the bigger decisions that I might go to the future and then go, okay, like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, if this is the situation, what would I look back on and want my answer to have been right here, right now? But if it's not, sort of a life or death, or, when a big sort of, life altering decision, if it's something as simple as like, do I stop my shower and take a bath right now? For me, it's the feeling, it's my body. And this takes practice and awareness. But I know what my body feels like and what I experience when I feel expansive and in the flow and coming from or showing up as love and infinite potentiality rather than creating from whatever is going on around me. And my body feels constricted and I feel a tightness. And it doesn't necessarily have to be super obvious, but I'm aware enough to know this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel comfortable
Mm,
for me. I don't want more of this. So a few different ways, and I'm thinking there are probably other ways that people experience and can tell as well. But yeah, great to bring in the whole point of meeting people where they're at, and then there also is like what's big, for some people, a small decision could be a big decision, whereas for someone else it's a day to day or something like that. But again, we could go on for 3 hours and talk about this. So
yeah. Yeah. I do think what's important in the information that we're sharing here and the work that you and I love to do in the world is empowering individuals to find their own truth.
yes.
And personal responsibility is such a big part of New Thought and Science of Mind that we love to talk about at the Truth Center. And it's your truth. It's true for you. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what I think or what you think. It matters what the individual thinks.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a saying that we have in science, in religious science, which is where Science of Mind comes from, is that we don't teach people what to think, we teach people how to think, so that people can make choices and decisions for themselves based on what it is that is meaningful and valuable and feels true for them. And when it's an alignment, with spirit, with love, with, that goodness that we all are, then there's no way that it would ever, ever, ever harm anyone in the process. So,
Beautiful. Beautiful. And to learn more about the offerings that we have coming up, you can go to victoriatruthcenter.org. And outside of our weekly events, which are always Wednesday nights, Elevate from 7 to 8:30, and Sunday, Celebrate Sunday with meditation and spiritual service by Reverend Lesia Kohut, every Sunday, 10:30 to noon. Outside of those regular events, next week we have two very special things lined up for you on Wednesday the 24th and on Friday the 26th. So check it out. We'll put a link wherever this podcast is shared so that you can tune in. But Wednesday the 24th, it's worth mentioning that we're having our very first art workshop in a new monthly series, Elevate Your Creativity, featuring Joanne Huco, a professional artist and love ambassador. We're going to be making tissue paper lanterns to create some luminous magic in your space.
mm-hmm.
And then on Friday the 26th will be a spiritual cabaret, 4th edition, with brand new talent, musicians, artists, performers, dancers. It'll be a gas, 7:00. Information on our website.
Right on. Well, that is amazing. And that's a wrap for episode 9 of What's Up, Spirit. So thank you, Sheri. Always a pleasure, always a delight to be in community and company with you. And thank you to everyone who tuned in, whatever way you're tuning in. We'd love for you to be part of the conversation and find out what's up with you as spirit. So drop a comment, send us an email, connect with us in some way, visit us in person or online, and let's continue to build community together and to live life lovingly together.